What? A sports betting opportunity that produces an expected return on investment of 19.4%? Tell me more about it. I'm Professor MJ, and I'm a university statistics professor. After simulating the 2020 NFL season 1 million times, I've discovered a good betting occasion on whether the San Francisco 49ers will win more or less than 10.5 games this year. Keep watching until the end for all the details. Kyle Shanahan's first two seasons as San Francisco's head coach ended with 6-10 and 4-12 records. The team wildly exceeded expectations last year by finishing as the number 1 seed in the NFC. The 49ers rolled pretty easily over the Vikings and the Packers to open the playoffs. However, the Super Bowl left a sour taste in their mouth after squandering a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter against the Chiefs. Can Shanahan's squad make it back to the big game this season? Let's preview the 49ers 2020 offense. When comparing the 2020 versus 2019 rosters, the only good news I see is at the QB position. Jimmie Garoppolo has a shot to take a leap in his second full season in Shanahan's offense. However, I see a possible downgrade at all remaining positions on offense. The team lost Matt Breida, but will, hopefully, finally see Jerick McKinnon on the field. Even though Breida slowed down late last season, he's less injury-prone than McKinnon, and his yards per carry average is significantly higher. McKinnon is a bigger threat in the passing game, but overall, I believe Breida is a more reliable player. At wide receiver, losing Emmanuel Sanders and Marquise Goodwin leaves a glaring hole at the wide receiver number 2 spot behind Deebo Samuel. Who will step up? The team has a lot of unproven guys. Kendrick Bourne, Travis Benjamin, Dante Pettis, Jalen Hurd, Trent Taylor, and rookie Brandon Aiyuk. George Kittle is a monster. He graded out as the top tight end in the entire league last year, according to Pro Football Focus grades. So there's no room for improvement there. Finally, on the offensive line, the team's longtime starting left tackle, Joe Staley, decided to hang his cleats. Newly acquired Trent Williams certainly has the abilities to fill his shoes, but how will he play after being out of football for a year and a half? Another source of concern pertains to the right guard spot, where Mike Pearson was released without any clear-cut replacement. So expect a drop-off in terms of quality of play at this position in 2020. So, for these reasons, I don't believe the 49ers offense has a good chance of finishing nearly as high as last year's second place in terms of points scored. This may be a bold call, but I foresee a middle-of-the-pack 2020 season from this offense. I anticipate the 49ers defense to be significantly weaker in 2020 as they were a year ago. First, the interior of the defensive line suffered a big blow with the losses of DeForest Buckner and Sheldon Day. The team hopes rookie Javon Kinlaw can produce immediately, but asking him to fill Buckner's shoes right away is asking too much. At edge, Arik Armstead's year may turn out to be an outlier. He more than doubled his 4-year sack production within one season. But granted, DeFord could compensate with more QB pressures if he can stay healthy this time. The linebackers, cornerbacks, and safeties remain the same. For continuity reasons, that's a good thing for sure. Now, can Richard Sherman retain the number 1 spot among all cornerbacks despite being 32 years old? That's another unlikely scenario. His play could drop off a little bit. So for all of those reasons, I'm calling a moderate downgrade from 2019 to 2020 for Robert Saleh's unit. Okay, I just summarized to you the 49ers offense and defense, but I've written a very detailed article that breaks down every position on offense and on defense, and where I discuss player movement. This is extremely valuable information for you if you are involved in fantasy football, or if you just want to be up to date on player movement. So I strongly encourage you to go to my website, ProfessorMJ.com, under the NFL Picks section, and you'll find a detailed write-up about each NFL team. Alright, so let's move on to the critical question. Should we bet San Francisco to win over or under 10.5 games this year? So what I did is I simulated the 2020 NFL season 1 million times by following the win probability of the road and home team for each game according to the odds as determined by betonline.ag. Now, in those 1 million simulated years, the 49ers won 11 games or more in 60.4% of the cases, while they won 10 games or less in the remaining 39.4% of the cases. Now, the best odds that I have seen online are -103 at bookmaker.eu, while the best line on the under is +105 at William Hill. I'm not going to bore you with the mathematical details, but here is the ROI, the return on investment, of the over bet based on these probabilities and the odds I just told you about. So the ROI on the over turns out to be +19.4%, while the ROI on the under is -19.2%. So the answer is pretty clear. My recommendation is to bet the over. Now, I try to answer the question of whether to bet the over or the under in 2 more ways. I also estimated the point spreads of all regular season games, and I simulated 1 million years based on my lines this time. And the results are that I believe the over has a 69% chance of hitting, while the under has a 31% chance. So in other words, my numbers are even more in favor of betting the over than the BetOnline odds. Now, a word of caution. I don't advocate to bet the over at any odds though. So my own personal advice is to bet over 10.5 wins only if the odds are -120 or better. If you're more familiar with decimal odds, that's the equivalent of 1.83. Now, another word of caution. As you saw from my summary of the offense and the defense, I'm not super high on San Francisco. I'm a bit wary that 2019 might have been a fluke year. I told you earlier that I don't believe the offense and the defense will do as well as last year. So in other words, my numbers are telling me that betting the over is a great betting option. But my own analysis and looking at the players tell me it's not such a great bet. Okay, so do not bet your house on this. I've got better betting opportunities to come. So subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you don't miss out on any of my betting tips on NFL regular season wins. This is Professor MJ. A big thank you for watching. I'll see you in another video.